excited to talk about a massive shift happening right now in your pocket, building the future of digital identity on Android. I'm Niharika Arora, Senior Developer Relations Engineer for Android. With me is Edson, who is Senior Developer Relations Engineer at Google Wallet, and Sabut from UIDAI, heading the engineering team there. So together we are going to talk about, we'll walk you through how we are transforming the way people carry their identity, making it more secure, private, seamless than ever before. We will also explore how physical documents are transforming into secure, verifiable digital assets, and how you as developers can leverage the latest Android APIs to build these seamless flows in your app. Okay, so think about the last time when you left the house, you made sure that you had the keys, you had your phone, and you carried your physical wallet. How many cards do you carry when you go out? Like, are there credit cards, IDs, everything there, right? Do you like carrying those always? Because we always forget that, right? And maybe I think at airport we remember, oh, we had to carry that, right? So, as you know, those physical wallet is actually rapidly changing. We are seeing a global shift where all the authoritative documents like your driver license, your health insurance, or your medical records, they are moving from physical formats to digital formats. But why is this happening now? So two big reasons. First, the user convenience. We all love to just being like, users are just increasingly expecting the flexibility, what they get when they don't have to carry anything. Everything is in your phone, right? You don't forget your phone. I think most of us don't forget our phones. And second is the frictionless verification. It is becoming much easier to provide the specific attributes. Maybe it could be your driver license, your age requirements, or anything, seamlessly again, without the need of any traditional methods we use. Before we look at the tech stack, I think we need to know what are digital credentials. So again, it's not just a PDF or a photo of your ID, which is stored in your gallery. A digital credential is a highly secure, cryptographical, verified document which is safely stored in your digital wallet, be it Google Wallet. And because they are backed by cryptography, they allow users to prove who they are, access any critical services, or do any transactions which are highly sensitive, all without needing to pull out any physical card. To put it simply, the credentials, these are the building blocks of modern identity. They act as a cryptographical secure token that contains the verified attributes for your user. The beauty of this technology lies in selective disclosure. Sometimes we actually call it double blindness, which is meaning if you need to prove your identity, maybe it's like you need to meet the age requirement of you are above 18. Do you need to share your name? Do you need to share your date of birth? But if you are sharing the whole document, it contains everything, right? So we are providing you an opportunity where you just share what you want to share. That's what we call the selective disclosure. One of the most powerful aspects of digital credential is its versatility. They aren't just like built for one environment. It has two distinct worlds. First is in person. Maybe, let's say you go at an airport or a store checkout. So maybe a government officer is asking you, you just have to use your identity and prove it through QR code or NFC. Second, online, I think we all are using it a lot. You have to log in into a banking app or a government portal and verify your identity seamlessly, which is again just in 2 clicks, again without needing to upload the whole document, your physical IDs, waiting for hours to get the approval. It's just one unified experience for both physical and digital spaces. Now, by moving to this model, we unlock massive benefits: unmatched privacy, resistance to phishing, reduced manual data entry errors with instant attribute sharing. Data is encrypted, it is stored in a wallet which is certified, and users only share what they want to share. And the magic behind this workflow is a beautifully coordinated system. Let's break down that into piece by piece. So first, we have the issuer. So what's an issuer? This is an authoritative source of truth. It could be a government agency or a department like UIDAI, or an enterprise organization that actually creates and signs digital credentials. Next is the holder, which is the user's digital wallet. For example, again, Google Wallet. The wallet app secures all these highly verified credentials locally on the device, ensuring that they are protected by a hardware-backed security. And now comes right in the middle, Android Credential Manager API. So think of this as a secure system negotiator. It provides you a unified API for developer, where you are getting everything through one API. And for your users, you are getting a unified system prompt, which they see for all kind of authentication or identity happening. So if there are, let's say, for example, multiple wallets you use on your device, what Credential Manager does is it aggregates all these credentials at one place. Your user don't need to worry about which wallet did they use or where their credentials are stored. They are just seeing everything at one bottom sheet, and they can choose whatever they want to use. Finally, we have the verifier app. It can be anything. For example, we have taken Uber app. It can be you also. This is a business or the agency that wants to request and validate these credentials. Because of this architecture, the verifier can now trust the data implicitly without needing to actually do it by themselves, because this is already coming from all the authoritative sources, and cryptographically signed, locally stored. So you already have verified everything. You just have to use it. Now that we know the players, let's trace the data flow for both getting the credential and using a credential. Let's start with issuance, getting the credential on your device. So first, what happens is the issuer triggers a request, which goes through Android Credential Manager API. It will prompt to ask which wallet do you want to use. Once it has selected the wallet app, the user then the app actually uses a signed certificate to securely exchange these credentials with the issuer, and the credentials are securely now saved on your device. Now we have it in the wallet. What happens next? How do we use it? So that's called the presentation flow. When any online or in-person verifier requests the identity proof, they again call the Credential Manager API. Android brings up, again, the secure system prompt, asking the user to choose the right credential. The user authenticates that, and the exact data points required are securely passed back to the app, which is the verifier, who has requested it. Simple, private, and fast. For the developers in the room, implementing this is incredibly straightforward. You don't need to write custom integration for all the wallets around the world. You just have to simply leverage the Credential Manager API, just pass the great credentials options, and let the OS do the magic. This is what the user experience would look like natively. Clean, familiar bottom sheet, which is used by Android OS. It ensures the user, again, knows who is exactly requesting the data and giving them the complete agency over the privacy. Now come the use cases. There are a lot of use cases. I am just going to tell some of those, keeping time in mind. But let's start with few use cases which we actually build every day, or which we are working with every day. First up, we have phone number verification. We all know how frustrating and insecure the SMS OTP can be. Have you ever faced like any breaches with SMS OTP? Or maybe your parents faced it? You can just raise the hands. Okay, just one, like maybe I think, okay. I have faced it, and it have been like really bad, where someone can just scam, and I think average users don't understand when someone is scamming them, right? By moving to digital credentials, now phone number verification has also become a secure one-tap phishing resistance experience. No more waiting for a text message or you have to copy paste it. You're also reducing the latency on that part. Now we had the three-tier model here. Android telephony acts as an authoritative source of truth as an issuer that cryptographically signs the carrier token. Google Password Manager serves as the on-device wallet, holding those credentials, and your app's backend will be the verifier validating the exchange happening. The same logic applies to email verification. Instead of sending magic links or verification emails that again disrupts the sign-up flow, users can now seamlessly prove ownership of a verified email address with same native UI. In this flow, Google acts as an issuer, certifying that the email address is correct, authoritative. GPM, again like the Google Password Manager, is the wallet storing these credentials securely. And your service, which can be app or website, they are the ones verifying the cryptographical claims. Last but not the least, the big one, which is the digital government IDs. With digital IDs, a user can actually prove, maybe again, like as we are talking a lot about age, without revealing their date of birth, name, or address. Google Wallet has already launched that as live support for mobile driver licenses and digital passports. And the broader wallet ecosystem is moving fast in this same direction. Today, users can actually already use this digital IDs for seamless in-person identity verification at major US airports. And speaking of expanding Google Wallet, who better to tell us about it other than one of the key minds behind the integration itself. So please welcome Edson to talk about the great work we have been doing with Google Wallet for digital IDs and how we are growing our ecosystem.
Thank you, Niharika. Hello, everyone. It's a privilege and a pleasure to be here with you today to talk about Google Wallet. The adoption of AI is moving incredibly fast. Our Gemini app just passed 900 million monthly active users. That is more than double the user base from just a few months ago. But we are already moving past simple chat interfaces. The next major wave in computing is agentic AI. This means autonomous AI agents that can take complex actions on your behalf. Imagine instructing an AI agent to find a flight to Tokyo under your usual budget. Book it using your frequent flyer miles and reserve a hotel room near your conference venue. The agent does not just give you a list of links. It executes the entire sequence in an autonomous way. And if you look at every major shift in computing, we always have to rewrite two core foundations: how we pay for things and how we prove who we are. For agentic AI to work, these agents cannot ask you for your credit card or for your ID at every single step. If they do, the magic is gone. They need secure, controlled access to your details in order to establish accountability. This means trust is everything. If users do not trust the system, they will not use it. If businesses cannot verify a real human is behind the agents, they will block the transaction. So we need to ensure that agents do have some sort of power of attorney before they act on behalf of humans. Identity will be the trust anchor of the future. With Google Wallet, we are building the trust fabric for the next decade of computing. To build this fabric, scale is a requirement. Google has 13 products with over 1 billion monthly active users, and 5 with over 3 billion. Billions of users already have a secure relationship with us through Play, Chrome, and YouTube. Their credentials are safely stored with us. And we are doing this openly. We are evolving the Universal Commerce Protocol, or UCP. We also donated our Agent Payments Protocol, or AP2, to the FIDO Alliance. We want to build an open ecosystem where AI agents can securely transact for you. Now, let us take a look at how we are expanding this ecosystem and what it means for your applications. To scale this ecosystem, we partner directly with forward-thinking public sectors. In the United States, mobile driver's licenses are expanding across multiple states. This brings us to the major announcements for developers here in India. Aadhaar is the national ID for over 1.4 billion citizens. It is the foundation of digital interaction. You no longer need to build customer verification pipelines. You do not have to redirect users to external websites. Whether you use Jetpack Credential Manager on Android or the W3C Digital Credentials API on web, the process is simple. Your app can request verified identity data with just one unified button. The operating system handles the secure data transfer automatically. This eliminates sign-up friction and stops user drop-off. Best of all, it gives your business the cryptographic proof needed to reduce fraud. Whether you handle high-stakes financial transactions or run a marketplace, this infrastructure is live and ready for you today. The next major launch we are working towards is bringing Japan's My Number card to Wallet late this year. We're also expanding our passport-verified ID Pass to over 10 more regions, including Brazil, Taiwan, and several other countries. We have announced plans for support for over 10 countries, and we continue to make sure it can be available for even more geographies. This infrastructure is ready for you to leverage today across multiple platforms. Niharika walked you through the Android's Credential Manager API for Android apps, but we're also bringing these capabilities to the web. For websites, you can use the W3C Digital Credentials API. This API supports cross-device requests, meaning a desktop website can request a credential right from the user's phone. Together, these APIs let you seamlessly and securely request credentials from native apps, mobile web, and desktop web. To see this in action, let's take a look at how Uber is already using the Credential Manager in the API in the US. They use it to securely verify a driver's identity with just a few taps. When a user needs to verify their account, Uber simply requests the necessary details. The user sees a secure prompt from Credential Manager, selects Google Wallet, taps to agree, and the verification is complete in seconds. MyGate here in India is also using a similar flow with the Credential Manager API to verify a delivery person entering a condominium or society. First, the security person enters the flat details, like Block A, apartment 102, for example. Next, they take a picture of the delivery person for the records. Then, they choose to use a digital ID on Google Wallet for verification. The delivery person displays the Aadhaar QR code, which is scanned by the security person. Now, Credential Manager pops up in the delivery person's phone, and they complete the flow by authorizing to share the described fields. Last, the security person receives the ID details, verifies them, and allows the entry. To pull back the curtain on how this foundational identity infrastructure operates at a truly population-wide scale, we want to bring our partner to the stage.
Round of applause. So we have spent some time diving into the technicalities of the API and the ecosystem integration. But as we all know, bringing this to real life takes like a lot, and at massive scale, it comes with its own unique set of challenges. And yep.
Yeah, exactly. It's one thing to build a secure framework, but it's another entirely to deploy in the wild for hundreds of millions of users. We focused heavily on building a robust ecosystem and laying out the groundwork for foundational systems, but the real story is how this works in practice.
To now pull back the curtains on these exact deployment hurdles, the core strategy behind the collaboration and the measurable scale of this rollout, we have the perfect person right here with us.
Yeah. Please welcome Sabut from the UIDAI team to the stage to join us. Welcome, Sabut.
Thank you so much, Sabuji, for being here. I'm sure no one is here sitting without an Aadhaar card. I was, but okay. Okay. Okay, so I have got some questions which I have been hearing a lot while we are working with digital credentials. I think you will be the right people to answer these. Welcome again. So UIDAI has always been a global pioneer in digital identity. So from your perspective, what was the core intention and the strategic vision behind collaborating with the Android ecosystem to bring identity natively on mobile wallets?
Okay, so at the outset, thank you all the builders who are here, all the developers who are here, spending some time with us to understand what initiative we have, what work we have done along with Google to bring the digital identity to the Android devices. So to answer your question, actually it's a well-researched decision that we took. Let me substantiate with some facts, some deliberations that have taken place. Identity is a very powerful, very useful commodity in the hands of resident. And the value of that commodity increases when it gets utilized in digital form. Now, if you look at Aadhaar, today almost 80 to 100 million digital transactions we do on daily basis. But there are a lot of unaccounted transaction happens around Aadhaar. I'm sure each one of you must have done a hotel check-in or must have traveled, must have used Aadhaar in paper form. That is something right now is not going, it's not in alignment with the privacy principles that we did set out when we started the Aadhaar journey. So the first reason for doing this collaboration is to get that behavioral change with the citizens, with the residents who are holding an Aadhaar. Instead of doing a paper-based transaction, how they can do a digital transaction. So that's a behavioral change we wanted to bring in. The second part is, in 2009 and 10, when we started the journey, our tele-density was at 47%. Today, it stands at 84% tele-density I'm talking about. Look at the number of mobile phone users, right? Today, it's around 93, almost 90% of countries, that's a mobile phone penetration in the country, 90%, almost 90%. And if you look at 15 to 21 age band, we are seeing an universality. In urban area, it is 97%, and in rural area, it is 95%. So almost the target population is already on the mobile. Look at the other number. When we started, again in 2009, almost 10 million mobile smartphones were there, 10 million. And it used to be considered as a luxury commodity at that point of time. But today, we have 1 billion devices in this country. And out of this 1 billion devices, more than 1 billion, in fact, 93% is Android devices. And these 93% actually targets a real Bharat. So these are some of the well-researched work that we did before we said, hey, how do we take this digital identity to the real people who really need this on day-to-day transactions? So that's why we collaborated with Android. Also, if you look at the way Aadhaar operates, we are a platform builder. We always work with ecosystems. Our enrollment, we could enroll 1.4 billion people, not because Aadhaar could do it. It's not because of Aadhaar alone. It is our ecosystem, our AUAs, our enrollment agencies. They took the Aadhaar products to the masses. So we, as a platform builder, we felt that how do we take this identity to the real people? It's only through collaborating with Android. Similarly, we are also working with Apple to do a similar work, bring the digital identity to the wallet. So that's our approach, and that's how we moved on this path.
You are on point. I was just remembering while you were talking about it, like how many times I have actually been like sharing it because I wanted to use that service, or maybe I, again, like doing a hotel check-in. I think at Demo Booth, we have been sharing with everyone, like, you just share anything without just knowing that person might maybe using it for something like some scam. So I think digital identity is actually going up very useful in those
Absolutely.
cases, for sure. Yeah. Hi, Edson. So now, when we think about building the future of digital identity on Android, why did Google Wallet decide to make this massive push into official digital IDs in first place? And what's the ultimate version you see for ecosystem globally?
Our goal with Google Wallet is clear. We want to enable safe and trusted interactions everywhere. Users need their digital IDs not only in person, but also online. Google Wallet enables this in a global, massive scale. So we are simply, when we're bringing digital IDs to Google Wallet, we are taking things that they use every day, like payment methods, transit cards, event tickets, boarding passes, loyalty cards, and adding digital IDs to that mix, so they can carry everything inside their mobile wallet, in their phone. And for us to achieve that, our vision includes an open ecosystem. We want to partner with local governments, we want to partner with industry partners, and we need to ensure strong privacy and interoperability within security standards. That's why we want, and to achieve this, with all of that, we want, most important of all, we want to achieve interoperability within all use cases and all digital wallets, not only with Google Wallet.
So just to add what Edson mentioned, look at this partnership. In this partnership, you have an ID that is backed by largest biometric database. It's not just an ID that you typically get from any government scheme, but this is an ID system which is backed by biometrics, and it is deduplicated. Whatever the facts you provide as part of the enrollment, it's all verified by the government system. So that's the power of this integration.
Yeah, I think we have been talking a lot about how we have been always like already verifying, and verifier doesn't really need to like worry about all that stuff. I think we have been taking care of that already. Coming back to you, Sabuji. So deploying identity solutions at scale that impacts over 1 billion people is unprecedented. What were some of unique deployment hurdles or technical challenges your team faced when you were deploying this solution for massive scale?
It's not my team alone. In fact, in Google and UIDAI, it's almost for last 2 years working on this integrations. We had numerous rounds of discussions, whether on the engineering side or on the legal side, how to bring this identity to the Android ecosystem. Just to give you why this is a bit complex, you look at Aadhaar Act came somewhere in 2015, and it went through the scrutiny of Honorable Supreme Court, and it stood the privacy related, all the deliberations that was happening when the act came. And all the standards that we are now talking about, all these standards came somewhere in 2020, 21, and post that. Now, when we try to marry standards with the provisions what is there in the act, we had to do a lot of balancing act. I remember last year in the GDC conference at Geneva, we started this discussion in detail with the engineering folks of Google. And in that conference was for two days. I think we didn't spend much time with the conference, what was happening over there, what are there on the agenda, but we were discussing more on this integration, how to ensure that the integration what we've engineered, that remains under the provisions of the act. We don't sidestep the law, as well as we ensure that any credential that we issue out to the wallet, whether it is Google Wallet today or any one of you, any builder over here builds a wallet which is in compliance with the OpenID for VCI standards, also can accept what we are issuing it out. That's the power of this integration. That's what we ensure. And that took some time, but all good things take time, and perhaps this is one such example. Just to end up this, from a compliance standpoint, our wallet integration is complying with OpenID standards. So from a verifier point of view, if you are supporting OpenID for verifiable presentation, you can always use the credential API and do a verification of the identity, whether it is Google Wallet or DigiLocker or any other wallet that is available on the Android phone.
You have given enough credit to Google team. We didn't bribe him. Edson, talking about these real-world complexities, how is Google Wallet approaching its expansion strategy? Specifically, how do the learnings from infrastructure in India can help expand this globally?
The digital ID ecosystem here in APAC is very advanced. And of course, we have this example in India. And we see these as a great opportunity to collaborate with these local partners and also to learn from each other on these experiences. As I said, not only in India, but in other countries here in APAC. And our approach to guarantee this scale for digital IDs is based on standards. Standards is what guarantee interoperability. Is what enables you to have your digital ID in your mobile phone and use it everywhere for anything. So we always try to work with local governments to be able to achieve these standards, but not only working on a global scale, we want to enable local experience, just like the ones where we did in India, and we look forward to doing that in other countries here in APAC, and of course, globally.
I don't want to end this, but keeping time in mind, I have the last question for you both. We will take that. We'll be taking that. We are here the whole day. Don't worry. To close this conversation, I have a final question. As we look ahead at this massive shift towards digital identity, what's the one piece of advice or key takeaway you would like to leave with developers in the room? Sabutji?
So we often say that there are billions of identities that you have issued, and there are millions of journeys that is feasible with these identities, especially with the digital identity. What are the use cases you just saw on the screen when Niharika was presenting it? In fact, there are very minuscule use cases that we have covered as of now. And there are plenty more to be explored. So again, it's a invitation to all the builders who are present inside this room. Hey, this is something, you look at anything you build, you always are concerned with the identity. And also you are concerned that how do you trust that identity when you consume that in your app or in your whatever features you are building out. we have ensured, we have listened to you, we have built this integration now. Now the identity is available with you. You open up your imagination, think of the problems that is being faced by citizens within this country, and create world-class applications. But before I end, I would like to also add two more things. It's just not that integration right now, what you saw today. We are also working on two more initiatives. One is that how do you enable this ID acceptable outside the country? So far, Aadhaar has always been accepted within country. We are working with Europeans, we are working with Southeastern countries to ensure that whenever you travel abroad, or whenever our kids travel to other countries for education or for any other purpose, how they can use this power of Aadhaar to prove their credentials. That's one part. The second one is, along with Google, the Zero Knowledge Proof team, we are also working on bringing some of the Zero Knowledge Proof products to the ecosystem so that some of the companies have to comply with DPDP provisions, how they can use these products and ensure that they are compliant. So that is another work that is happening. So I'm sure this combination of these features will ensure that what you are building, that will meet the requirements of this country and also will open up a lot of new ideas, new opportunities.
Edson?
Yes, since Sabut mentioned the Zero Knowledge Proof, last year we open sourced our implementation of the Zero Knowledge protocol, and it's available on GitHub, so you just Google that. You'll find our open source implementation. And as developers, think about all the use cases that we have today that we can enable with digital IDs and using that to verify that a person really who he or she is claiming to be. And for businesses, imagine all the use cases that you can create when you have, for example, an agent that is acting on behalf of a user, and you have a digital ID that you can trust to ensure that it's not simply a bot trying to do like a fake transaction for you. So I have to tell you that first step to learn more about it is to go and learn more about the Jetpack Credential Manager that Niharika described. We also have the W3C Digital Credentials API. And of course, I have to make this pitch. If you want to learn more about Google Wallet, please visit developers.google.com/wallet.
Thank you, both of you. So having to hear the unique perspectives from ecosystem to real world deployment is exactly what developers need to hear as they start building. As we wrap up today, let's take a quick look of what we have covered. We started looking by the inevitable shift from physical to digital credentials, driven by user convenience and the new regulations. We broke down the architecture for Android Credential Manager API, showing you how it can act as a secure hub for both issuers and verifiers. And finally, with the help of Edson and Sabut, we saw how this looks like in the real world, how a massive infrastructure integration is scaling ecosystem expansion to deliver the secure, tamper-proof identification to millions of users. The future of identity is open, secure, and it's happening right now. If you're ready to start building, check out the resources. I know you all have phones, so maybe I want to see everyone doing it. Maybe just pretend you are scanning this QR code. Again, thank you, Sabut, for joining us on stage, Edson, and most importantly, all the developers. Thank you for all the time today. We can't wait to see what you build. Enjoy the rest of Google I/O Connect.